If you're the kind of gamer who has told me in the past several years that I've been too political, that I've been talking about politics a bit too much in my video game coverage, and that I indeed should just stick to games, well,
what's wrong with you?
Whoa, Reggie, let's not rush to judgment. It's been an emotional weekend. Feelings are running high. Maybe the last thing we need is politics right now. For indeed, America, now is the time for unity. Not division. We must stop the demonization in this nation. Indeed, now is the time for those with grace to reach across the aisle with hands that the people on the other side of that aisle want to see in handcuffs. And in that spirit, today, you will finally get what you want. I give you the apolitical Jimquisition. Activision is a company that exists, founded in 1979 under circumstances too divisive to discuss here. Primarily known for Call of Duty, a video game series about travel, Activision has published many video games which it exchanges with other people for small rectangular sheets of coloured paper. The current person who is in charge of the company is Robert Kotick, a man who has been criticised in the past because of some reasons. The things Kotick have been criticised for include actions and decisions, sometimes statements as well. He is known to have been born in 1963, but to the best of our research, we can confirm that he has not been criticised for that. Lately, Activision was in the news. With so many other news items happening, you may not know what that is, but luckily your old pal Jim Sterling is here to explain it to you. So, news is freshly received or notable information, and is commonly shared via republication and broadcast to a wider audience. The information shared is usually about current events, such as events that are happening currently. An example of some really interesting news is when some people do some things and we know what they did and when they did it. The thing. Also news about when a cat is stuck up in a tree. Ow! Linguistically, it is the plural of new, which, fun fact, I never put two and two together on that for a significant portion of my life. New. News. I have more than one new to tell you. You know when you just have those words that you've never really thought about because it's just always been there? There are many words we've always used and don't think about the deeper meaning behind, right? Yeah? I think you know what I'm saying. Words like splat. What even is splat? Well, did you know this silly little word, which we typically use to describe a wet, messy impact, is derived from the 19th century obsolete word splat, which is the past tense of split. So that is some information you have learned now. There are many words we've always used and don't think— oh no, I've done that bit. Anyway, back to Activision. The news concerning Activision is, in predictable fashion, new information that was received by news outlets and subsequently shared to those outlets' audience. The news itself is about things and... oh, Christ. Activision happened, and... No, this isn't working. This isn't... I mean, I thought it'd be, you know, we'll just do something like the 100% objective game review. Do you remember when I did that a few years ago? I just thought, you know, just be a hack and revive that concept, but with a different subject. Turns out it's a little more difficult this time. We'll try something different. Activision exists. The end. Thanks someone for me. Right, okay. Right, this is the best I can manage. Activision. In recent years, some people have worked for the company and then they didn't. Work is something people choose to do for fun, and sometimes the people who don't work there anymore are sad because they liked working there and having fun with their pals. Activision's person what is in charge of Activision, Bobby Kotick, also did a sad out of his face and said it was very difficult when he told his friends in quality assurance that they couldn't come over and play anymore. The main issue seems to stem from the fact that Bobby has a lot of toys, but thought that he would be able to play with fewer of them if he had too many chums in the rumpus room. A lot of people were cross with Bobby for upsetting so many people, especially because he'd just gotten more presents than ever before on his last birthday.
Shut up, Craig! It's not tenuous! Your connection to the human species is fucking tenuous, intern.
What's really distressing though is just what a bad friend Bobby really is. See, after he stopped playing with hundreds of his friends last year, he recently started making a whole bunch of new ones and letting them play with the millions of toys he got given for Christmas. This has left so many people feeling excluded and lonely and above all sad. This appears to be a pattern not just with Bobby, but in rumpus rooms around the world. Friends are invited over to play, then they're told there aren't enough toys for them, then a whole bunch of new friends come over to play with more than enough toys until they're sent home as well.
This really isn't striking the right chord either. Okay, how about this? We will be completely neutral this time. No bother.
The economic reality is that as corporations reach a threshold on the profits that have been falsely represented as perpetually expansive, billionaire CEOs like Bobby Kotick are always looking for ways to cut costs to maintain an illusion of growth. Coupled with a consumption-based labour process that sees the routine hiring and redundancy of thousands of workers leads to no!
Too much politics, too much politics. The video games has too much politics. What can we do about this? There's no politics in facts, right? Just the facts, just the bare bones events of the day, right? Facts don't care about your feelings, that's what I've been told for years by unaligned parties. Facts.
GameStop recently held a dance contest for its employees. GameStop workers have been encouraged to do entertaining dances on the video sharing platform TikTok, using the classic UB40 song Red Red Wine, a song about nothing, probably. The store judged to have the best dance will win prizes: an Echo 8 Echo Auto, $100 Visa gift card, and 10 additional labor hours for the week of Black Friday. And I, fucking apparently, have nothing to say about that. I only have information, and that's all of the information. People are dancing for labor hours. People are dancing to be allowed to work at a company they work for because they need more money from the business they already work for. The graphics on The Last of Us Part 2 are really fucking awesome. What I like most about them is just how detailed and rich they are. The animations alone are amazing. It's immersive and realistic when you upgrade each, How about those mushroom zombies, right? Gameplay 10 out of 10, graphics 10 out of 10, sound 10 out of 10, story non-existent, 10 out of... Number 10! Metal Gear Solid. It was published in 1998 and people played it. Number 9! BioShock, a game about being wet that people played. Number 8! Spec Ops: The Line. Whoa, how about those sound physics, huh? Number 7! Papers, Please? Haha, I don't get it. Number 6! The Division 2. Someone played the shit out of that one. Number 5! Death Stranding. Who played it? People did sometimes. Number 4! Video games. Number 3! Video games. Number 2. Video games. This isn't working. I thought to myself, this'll be easy. This'll be quick. Suck all of the politics out of the discussion, do what they've told me to do for years. No bias, no positions, no themes, no point, no meaning. It's But it's not possible. I mean, going by the logic of those who don't want politics, the very existence of certain genders and races are political, but to say any gender or race is political is to say they all are. But if you say being a cis white man is too political for video games, you'll get told
they want to be told it's shit when developers are
they want video games to be treated, but they don't want to know why, how, or what to be done about it. They want video games how even can we have a discussion about they think men should be anyone video games are political gets accused of doing a game, even though what you're doing is pointing out the politics that are already inherently there.
Wait.
Oh, I see it. The answer. How do you talk about games without politics? Yes.
No.
Well, hello there. Google, yes. Activision did a no, yes, he did. Google, big mini boo-boo conky did a bad thing, and I'm going to tell. Yes, I am. In other news, GameStop's doing dancing. Yes, it is a dancey, nice time. They doing dances for Big Guy Friday, and you know what that means, right? That's right. It's almost time for Turkey Day. Me love turkey, yum yum yum. Me like turkey. I like Turkey Day because me like seeing Fun Parade with Spider-Man in it. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero because he is red and he is blue and he fights the mean goblin who can fly and throw apples. Ubisoft? What's a Ubisoft? Oh, they make that funny game about a pig in the big city like Babe, right? I like when their funny man has a magic phone. It makes me do a lot of big laughs, and they spent years covering for sexual abuse, rife within its company, at every level, and CEO Yves Journeau continually ducks questions about how much he knew. Mostly because it's fucking obvious to fucking fuck that he knew most of it. Or, again, he's a fucking idiot. And I don't believe he's that big of a fucking idiot. Also, dancing for labour hours? Like, literally dancing for the pleasure of executives so they can give you the honour of doing more work. So you realise that is just 15 million merits, right? Which, by the way, is not just a fucking story about living in a giant Xbox. Also, it's not inherently political to recognise the existence of queer people and trans people and black people and women unless you also admit that it's equally political to be a cis-het white guy, because ultimately, and this is the real kicker, folks, while it's easy to pretend you're completely apolitical, that's only because the prevailing political climate is so perfectly tailored to your desires that you feel like the default option, the medium setting, to the point where if you are indeed on that easiest difficulty level, you can listen to influencers who have been given roles in Watch Dogs Legion and not worry that they advocate for your human rights to be minimised. Oh, Ubisoft, accidentally platforming TERFs. And because that setting is normal for you, you assume it's normal for everyone. You are, in fact, the status quo. And the status quo is an inherent political tool, and so are you, especially if you think you're not. Because right now, the status quo is unfair to a lot of people. Right now, the status quo is income inequality. Right now, the status quo is people risking being massively in debt if they have a medical emergency, or not even being able to afford to have a medical emergency ever. It is governments trying to legislate marginalised people out of existence. It is cops shooting unarmed people of colour. It is homelessness in cities full of empty homes. It is companies like Ubisoft getting away with Ubisoft shit. It's women in game development being harassed out of game development for being women in game development. It's Activision firing hundreds of employees, making massive amounts of money, and then hiring more employees so they can fire them later. It is game companies working their staff to the bone while not even paying them enough to use the cafeteria. It is companies like GameStop expecting its employees to dance for labour hours. And if none of that matters to you, your apathy is the political statement, a pointedly callous one. You can keep thinking you're apolitical and enlightened centrist who doesn't get involved. It means you accept and therefore condone abuse. Better it continue than you be inconvenienced is your ultimate message. Where your priorities lie says a lot.
a lot politically. And that's fine. Continue thinking there are no political messages in RoboCop. Keep assuming there's no deeper meaning in an entire genre of shooters that support the US military in the belief that there are good guys and bad guys, and the former can do whatever they want while the latter are ski mask wearing goons to be shot on sight. And keep thinking that because your human rights aren't up for debate every single fucking day, that things are normal and okay and acceptable. If you want. But don't come here and complain, because this episode proved it was fucking impossible for at least myself to suck all the fucking life and meaning out of everything.
It's good that Biden won. He's the sweet, sweet relief of mediocrity. He is Trump losing. And that's good. Because yes, Orange Man bad. Everyone has been saying that for years as if it's an insult. Just, oh, you criticize Trump, you just say Orange Man bad. The Orange Man was bad! Kids not being locked up in cages, right, is good. Having people who believe in science leading a COVID response is good. Ooh, politics! Earlier on during the whole COVID pandemic, there was a discussion in the UK about health workers, nurses, doctors, health workers, getting more pay, especially during a time where they were putting their lives on the line and working overtime to deal with all of us being sick. And the fuckers in charge said, now's not the time for that discussion. And that's when it hit me. For people who say now's not the time, there will never be a time. Because if a global health crisis isn't the time to discuss taking care of health workers, the natural question is, when's the time? When there's not a global health crisis? Because they weren't being paid very well then either. They were being paid the same. And that's the whole problem with let's not think about it, let's not talk about it, let's not worry about that now that a video game we want to play is coming out. Let's not worry about that right now. Let's just accept an apology at face value, because then we don't have to think about there being any problems. And if you have that luxury, well, you better be thanking God for something, because lucky fucking you.